Reiki does not just have to be healing. You don't always have to be in healing mode, and you shouldn't always be in healing mode. That's not what we're here for. I believe the real goal is ascension, helping our soul to learn and evolve and grow. And you can use the energy work, the Reiki, for that. So more of like a maintenance to help you stay clear so that you can continue to grow and evolve rather than getting stuck. Let's do some prevention and stop you from getting stuck. Just make sure everything is still clear. Catch the blockages when they're small. There's not always something that needs to be healed. You're not broken. There's nothing wrong with you. Even if something is physically wrong with you, energetically speaking, you as a soul, there is nothing wrong with you. You're not broken. You can't be broken. Welcome to the Energy Within podcast, helping you to embrace your weird, beat imposter syndrome, and take action on your soul's purpose. My name is Carrie Jokala. I am your host. I am a Reiki master teacher, a fitness instructor, a wife, a mom to 2 little boys, and this is episode 183, and we're going to get back to basics today. So originally this week, I was thinking I would start the chakra series that I want to start, and I'm not quite as ready as I want to be just because I've picked up some new books. So there's a little bit more that I want to absorb before I turn around and teach it all. So I'm going to push that off until hopefully next week I will be ready to start that. And we'll go week by week, one chakra at a time. So I was wondering what to talk about today. And it just made sense that if we are going back to basics, that before we talk about the chakras, we should talk about Reiki. So let me say first that if there's anything that is left unanswered for you, please feel free to reach out and ask me any questions that you have. You can jump inside the Energy Within Facebook group and post your question there. You can reach out to me by DM on Instagram or Facebook. Just know that if we're not following each other, it may go into my requests. I usually see them pretty quickly, but just in case I don't get to it right away, it's probably just because it was hidden in the request tab or whatever you call it on there. But I will eventually see it. I will get to it. I usually see them quickly, but just in case, if you're not inside the Energy Within Facebook group, make sure you hop in there, and please make sure that you answer the questions, just so I know that you are a real person who genuinely wants to join the group. If you don't want to put your email address down, you don't have to. I shouldn't say that because I want your email address. I would be very happy if you wanted to put down your email address so you could stay up to date with everything. But if you don't want to answer that one, you don't have to. But please at least answer the other 2 questions. It just asks how you found the group and if you listened to the podcast already. So, the interesting thing about Reiki is that it can still be hard to describe because there is so much that you can do with Reiki. You can Reiki anything, literally anything. But the way it's typically described is that it is universal life force energy. And that is described then a step further as being divine sourced energy, source energy. For me, it's still God. It always will be God. It always has been God. That is where all this energy is sourced from. And what I do, what Reiki practitioners do, is we are essentially just helping to be a channel for that energy and help direct it. So if you've heard before, energy cannot be created or destroyed. It can only be... Why can't I think of the word? But essentially it can just be moved, shifted, transferred. It is not created. You are not getting anything that doesn't already exist. And you are definitely not getting my energy. And that to me is a beautiful thing about Reiki, that you're not getting my energy. But I'm just helping to direct this energy to you to help clear out any stuck energy that is in your body. So we're clearing out blockages, any stagnation, and replacing it, filling it back in with that God source, that divine source, universal life force energy. And it doesn't matter to me what you want to call it, but just so you know, that's what it is for me. And the reason we're going to end up later on, one by one, talking about the chakras is because that is one of the ways to conduct a Reiki session. So you may or may not know that there are also hand positions for Reiki, and that is a perfectly acceptable, just as effective way to do Reiki, where the practitioner will move down your body, either placing their hands on your body or hovering just a little bit above if it's in person. I do all my sessions over Zoom, which I'll talk about in a little while. But essentially, different hand positions on different points all along the body, remaining there for a couple of minutes, channeling the energy, helping to push out, clear out any blockages, and then sending in the Reiki energy to fill that space back up. The way I do it is going through each of the 7 main chakras. Now, there are way more chakras than that. I've heard that we have 8 chakras, that there's like another one above our head, and I can't remember what that one is called right now. But I've also recently heard that there are 12 major chakras, and I also know for sure that there are minor chakras. For example, there's an ear chakra, there's probably a wrist chakra, there's different chakras all over different points of your body. Similar to the way acupuncture is looked at, where there's different energy meridians in your body, and I don't know anything about the meridians, I just know that that's another way that you can look at how energy is running through the body. Now, essentially what's happening with the chakras. So chakra is a Sanskrit word for wheel. So the chakras are spinning. What I've learned recently is that it's very possible that they are interlocked, kind of like gears. So while one is spinning one way, the other one is spinning the opposite way. And you'll have to forgive me because this is something that I learned recently, so I don't remember which direction it starts with at the root. But just know that it continues to go in opposite directions as we move up through the chakras. How relevant is that to you when you come to do a Reiki session? It's not. The main thing is what's showing up as a block in each chakra and how can we clear it. So the way you would know that you have a block in a chakra is how it's manifested in your body, in your emotions, and probably the hardest one to pick up on, but also there too, is your spiritual connection. Because Reiki works on all levels, physical, emotional, and spiritual. So physical is going to be probably the easiest to notice. If you have any kind of pain, injury, chronic illness, any kind of disease, those are, in this sense, we're looking at it as energy that has been stuck, that has been collecting. It's not that it's meant to be described as positive or negative, but just to make it easy to understand this, the block that is collecting wherever this is taking place is really a little more negative because it's not going anywhere. So it's just getting stuck. And if you are not addressing it, if you're not managing it when it first comes up, you're ignoring it, or you're not really fully believing that you can take care of it on your own, it manifests and shows up as whatever it is that you're feeling. And an example I've used before is one that I think is easy to get. So stress. So we know that stress can be described as an emotion. If you're feeling stress, there are different physical things that happen in your body. But then we also know if you hold on to that stress, if you remain in a stressed state for way too long, it's going to manifest in your body in some way. Like I haven't felt this in a long time, but I remember that if I were to get really stressed, there was a knot that had formed in my upper right shoulder, and it would tighten and it would hurt really bad if I got overstressed. So if we take it a step further, and let's say this didn't happen to me personally, but let's just say I continued to maintain that stressed state, it's possible my shoulder could have developed some bigger problems over time. Maybe something would happen with my rotator cuff or just other bigger issues than just a knot. The longer you let things sit, the longer you don't deal with them, the longer you try to mask it rather than going to the root of what's going on, the worse it's going to manifest. So I don't know for sure yet, but I will likely get deeper into specifics around each chakra. But for example, another thing could be anger. I know that anger is held on to in the liver, and if you're having problems in that, either that organ specifically or that area of the body, that is a signal that anger might be the issue. And it could be conscious anger, or it could be something that's been repressed. Maybe you're a really happy person, but you know that there is likely subconsciously something that you have avoided dealing with because the thought of dealing with it is too painful. So that's going to manifest in your body then, because your body is trying to get your attention and tell you to deal with it. So I kind of skipped ahead a little bit actually with how our emotions can get stuck in the body. So it's likely that things could have stopped and manifested at an emotional level, like maybe you have depression or anxiety or something like that. It's my belief that if it's gone to a physical level, it's gone even a step further in how it shows up. Now, I don't know if that's true or not. That's the exact direction that it goes, is getting stuck as emotions first and then as a physical thing. I don't know. I think it's also just possible that it's going to show up, how it's going to show up in a way that's going to get your attention the most. And it depends on where in the body it is, which chakra it's affecting. So hopefully I'm not losing you. Remember, if you have questions, please reach out. Essentially, what's going on is each chakra, so we're just talking about the main chakras, each chakra is in a certain location along your spine, all the way from the base to the top of your head. And each chakra relates to different body parts, different organs, different emotions. And we'll talk when we get into the specific chakras, what a balanced one will show up as, what you'll be feeling when that chakra is balanced, and what you might be feeling and experiencing when it's unbalanced. So by going in, I'm connecting to your energy, I'm going over your chakras, and every practitioner is going to be different. I will see different things happening in the chakra, and it's typically going to be a symbol that might represent something. So we'll talk about it afterwards and figure out what it means and kind of put the puzzle pieces together. So as an example, lately I often see in the root chakra a tree, but everybody's tree is different. So whatever is happening with that tree, is it cracked down the middle? Is it blooming? Are the leaves falling off? Where are you in relation to the tree? Are you holding up trying to protect it? Are you sitting up in it happily reading a book? I've seen all different types of things, and I've learned to just trust what pops into my head first. That's a separate discussion for if you want to learn Reiki, but just to know it's just what I'm getting, what I'm picking up on, that's going to be a piece of the puzzle in figuring out what's going on, which chakras need the most attention, and what needs to be done to clear the block. So what happens in a Reiki session? So I, like I said, do all of my sessions over Zoom. And I would love to do in-person sessions. However, I just don't have a space to do that right now. And doing it online is just very convenient. I get to be in my home, you get to be in yours, you can get comfortable wherever you are the most comfortable. So if you want to lay in your bed, you want to lay on a couch, you'd rather sit up in a chair as long as you're not going to fall over. You have that ability and you're in a place that you know. So that just makes it easy. A little side note, if you happen to be local to me and you would like to experience a very mini in-person session, like no more than 10 minutes at the most, I am doing a couple vendor fairs coming up, and I'm going to do my best to list them and link them in the show notes. I keep saying I'm going to list things in the show notes and I keep forgetting. But I'm going to be at the Dare to Be Aware fair on April 15th, and it's in Brookfield. I forget the name of the exact place. It's like the Brookfield Event Center or something to that effect. But if you look up Dare to Be Aware fair, it'll show you the location. And then there's another one on the 29th that is in Waukesha. I forget the number of it, but it's at like the Waukesha Elks Lodge number something or other. So I'll put the links to that in the show notes if you're local and you would like to check that out. And then also check out all the other awesome vendors that will be there. But if you come to my table, you'll have the option for a 3-card oracle card reading, a mini Reiki session, or both. But anyway, in a full Reiki session, I am guiding you into a meditation and just helping you relax, getting you into that relaxed meditative state. You do not have to do anything during the Reiki session. We'll chat beforehand, so if there's anything that you do want to let me know that you want to be a focus, anything that's been going on, that's been bugging you, that you really want to make sure gets cleared as much as possible, we can talk about that in the beginning. And then we'll start the meditation. And like I said, all you have to do is continue to meditate. And I tell everybody to really make sure that you're not trying to force yourself to feel or see anything, because that's not your job. If you do, that's awesome. I love when my clients tell me that they felt something, that they maybe saw things. And it's even better when it happens to be related or even exactly the same as what I saw or something that I did during the session. It's really cool. And in fact, some of my clients who have been repeat clients are starting to notice when they feel something, they're like, I know she's doing something right now and she's going to tell me about this spot later. And then sure enough, oh, by the way, this happened. And yep, I felt that. Was it at this point, or was it in this spot? Yes, it was. And that always is so much fun to get that feedback. But if you don't see anything or feel anything, that doesn't mean it didn't work. What is the most important in all of this is intent. And I hate to reduce it to something so simple, but truly, just like with anything else in life, if you believe it's going to work, it will work. If you come in and you don't believe it's going to work, it's probably not going to work. So it's okay to come in and be unsure of what to expect, but I want to make sure that you are comfortable and relaxed and open and trusting that you didn't do anything wrong if you happen not to feel anything. In fact, I have one client who started off, she always enjoyed the sessions, but she never really saw or felt anything, to now she is the first Reiki master teacher that I have attuned. So don't worry if you come and do a session, you've never done one before, and you don't see or feel anything. You didn't do anything wrong. I didn't do anything wrong. And it doesn't mean that it didn't work. Because also what's going to happen is that energy shift is happening in your body, and there sometimes is a physical purge in some ways. Sometimes there are just energetic after effects. I've had people message me a month later and tell me they're still noticing the positive shifts and changes in their life, in their relationships, as a result of things that happened, things that came up in the Reiki session. Now, I'm not one either I have packages available, but I'm never going to sit here and tell you, oh, you should come back and see me next week, or you need to come back this many times to clear this thing, because I don't believe it works that way. And I'm also just not a pushy person. I don't want anyone to come to me out of obligation. I want you to want to come to these sessions. But that said, I do know from experience that regular Reiki can be the most effective at creating the full shift that you want to have happen. It's similar to working out or eating right. You can't just do it once and expect it to change everything and also expect it to stick. Because if we're not also addressing why things are happening, why the energy was getting stuck, it's going to be harder to maintain whatever shift does come. If you are incredibly super ready, I do believe it is possible to have a super major shift off of just one session. But especially if it's your first time, that might not be the case. It depends on how ready you are. It depends on how open you are. Maybe you've been trying to heal a certain thing, and oftentimes energy work is one of the last things that people turn to as a last resort. Like, okay, nothing else has worked. I'm just going to try this and see what happens. And lo and behold, that's the thing that opens everything up and makes that change. But to really maintain it, to be able to help you work through the shift, because change is scary, change is hard, it's going to affect the way things happen in your life. It's going to affect your relationships if a major change is happening as a result. It could be something very minor but very positive. But if it's something really big and things are getting shaken up, it's possible that more Reiki, regular Reiki, is what's going to be more effective at helping you navigate the shift. So I leave that up to you. If you know that that's something that you need, that's going to be beneficial to help you through whatever you're trying to get through. Now, like I said, we can Reiki anything. So we're going through in a session, we're specifically Reikiing your chakras. And by the way, the Reiki itself takes roughly 20, sometimes up to 30 minutes. But I do also leave time afterwards because I want to talk to you and explain to you everything that I saw. I want to know if you felt or saw anything. And I want to allow you to interpret and ask questions about anything that I saw and help you be the one to put the puzzle pieces together. And then we also do a card pull at the end, usually 3, sometimes I'll do more. It depends on what the situation is that we were talking about, what came up. And I like to do that just as a way to solidify any messages that came through. So anyway, in a session, we are specifically looking at your chakras and sending Reiki through the body. We can also Reiki a past situation, a future situation. We can send Reiki to, say, you have something, some kind of meeting that you are expecting or would normally expect wouldn't go well. You're very nervous about it. We can send Reiki to that maybe even specific date and time. Or we could just set the intention that the next time you interact with this person, that energy is going to be there to help things go smoothly. You can also Reiki your food, your water, your whatever you're drinking, the same way you would pray over your food, bless your food. It's the exact same thing. You're just sending that energy and positive intention, channeling it from God, source, energy, and sending that into whatever you are eating or drinking. It took me a long time to remember to do it, and I don't remember to Reiki my food all the time, but I definitely Reiki my coffee every morning, which I got that from my soul sister Jess, because she always posts that on her Instagram, and then I would already be almost done with my coffee by the time I would see that on her stories and be like, oh no, oh crap, I forgot to do that. But eventually I started doing it and it became a habit. So I thought today was going to be shorter, and clearly it's not. I've been going on for a lot longer than it feels like I have. But basically, that's Reiki. We are connecting to your energy. We're clearing out that stuck energy that has been causing problems for you, bringing obstacles into your life, causing disease or lower vibrational emotions that you have been stuck in and unable to get out of. And we are replacing it with Reiki energy, universal life force energy, to help things flow again. It's like getting a massage in your muscles so that the blood can flow through again. This is getting a massage for your energetic body, your aura, so that things can flow again. Because everything starts in your energy. Everything starts in your energy field before it shows up in your emotions or in your physical body. So if we're not staying on top of it when it's still in the energetic body, that's when it starts to show up in other ways because it's trying to get our attention so that we deal with it. So I personally really like to use Reiki. That's my whole thing. Like I say in the beginning, I'm working to help you build your confidence, to embrace who you are, embrace your weirdness, beat imposter syndrome, get over this idea that who you are isn't good enough or that you're somehow a fraud. And once you build that confidence in yourself, then you take that next step of taking action towards your soul purpose, because that's the scariest thing when that keeps showing up in your life and you keep getting those calls and tugs and nudges telling you to go one way. But as awesome as it sounds, it just feels so scary and you have all this self-doubt. We get rid of the self-doubt and then you can start taking that action because it's less scary. So that's the grand view for me and what I like to use Reiki for. But really, it's anything. And I believe it all goes back really to confidence. Everything I think goes back to confidence. And before I wrap it up, I do also want to make sure I'm pointing out, if you go back and listen to episodes I've done about how you don't always have to be healing. So there's an episode that's called that, and then one that expanded on that a little bit later, a few weeks after that. But Reiki does not just have to be healing. You don't always have to be in healing mode, and you shouldn't always be in healing mode. That's not what we're here for. I believe the real goal is ascension, helping our soul to learn and evolve and grow. And you can use the energy work, the Reiki, for that. So more of like a maintenance to help you stay clear so that you can continue to grow and evolve rather than getting stuck. Let's do some prevention and stop you from getting stuck. Just make sure everything is still clear. Catch the blockages when they're small. Think of it like getting a tune-up. My friend Mindy, who's been on the podcast a few times, said that when she came to me for a Reiki session, she just likes to get her chakras tuned up and just a little bit of maintenance, which I think is an awesome idea. There's not always something that needs to be healed. You're not broken. There's nothing wrong with you. Even if something is physically wrong with you, energetically speaking, you as a soul, there is nothing wrong with you. You're not broken. You can't be broken. Unless you choose to be. That's another conversation, but I'll leave it there. So I'm going to wrap it up there because this has gone on a lot longer than I thought it was going to. I thought it was going to be a simple, hey, this is Reiki, but I have a lot to say apparently. So here's the thing. Here's where I would remind you that the Energy Club is open for enrollment. However, I'm really starting to think that I might scrap the idea for now. I'll hold it open again as a possibility for down the road. It was feeling good in the beginning. I felt like I was getting a lot of signs that I was on the right path, but I connected it to the membership that I had the idea for. But I found myself struggling to pick a day for the first group session, and I couldn't figure out why. And then I started to get really excited about the potential for adding in the meditations that I want to do. And then that just became a bigger vision of just the meditations. So as I'm getting closer to finally being able to set up all my proper recording equipment, you can tell hopefully you can tell I'm not in the car today. I'm in my bathroom, but I'm still on the phone. But I'm getting closer to being able to set up the recording equipment, which is going to enable me to record the meditation, the main meditation that I've been wanting to record for a year now. And then I have more that I don't know specifically what they are, but I can feel that they're there. They need to be created. I want to create things right now. So rather than being held to any sort of specific schedule for showing up outside of someone booking an individual or a group session, which is fine, please do. I don't feel anymore that the membership is meant to happen now. That said, if you were seriously considering jumping into the membership and you just hadn't yet, reach out to me because perhaps, I might cut you a deal on a Reiki session, a one-on-one, if you would still like to do that this month. If you know you were going to jump into the membership but you didn't jump on it yet, go ahead and reach out and let me know. We'll talk. But other than that, please keep an eye out for the meditations. I feel these are going to be really special. I, on one hand, for sure, was definitely inspired by my friend Elizabeth, who has the sound healing album. She has these sound healing codes. She uses her voice for sound healing, and her album is so amazing. I'll try to remember to link it in the show notes. But she got this download for these sound codes and released this entire album, and it's amazing. And what I felt drawn to do when I wanted to first do this emotional healing meditation, which is this big one that I was wanting to do for the last year, as I was thinking about how to create it, it felt like it was meant to be something similar. Not necessarily specific, I'm channeling these codes or anything like that, but just using my voice as the main part of the meditation. Sound healing that way. Because if you don't know this, I actually am a singer too. Little shameless promotion here. I do have an album out on iTunes. You can probably listen to it on Spotify too. I think it's everywhere, but you can buy it on iTunes. Our band is Unexplained Voices, and the name of the album is Time to Breathe. And if you'd like to check it out, it's on Apple Music too. And like I said, I think you can stream it on Spotify too. So if you want to just listen to it, go ahead. If you want to buy it, there you go. But I don't want to imply that it's just me. These songs were written with my songwriting partner from years ago, and my husband worked on it a lot as well, and we brought in some musician friends to play on it, so it was a whole thing, a whole big production. We just, life and then kids. So hopefully one day soon we can revive the whole band thing. But honestly, I don't mean to go off on another tangent, because I said I was going to wrap this up and I'm still yapping a few minutes later. But I really feel drawn towards using my voice in this way as well. So keep an eye out. That's all I'm going to say, because I don't have any specific dates yet. So I promise I'm wrapping it up now. Thank you so much for being here. If you enjoyed this episode, if you got something out of it, please share it. If you feel called to write a review or leave a rating, please leave a 5-star rating and a positive review, because that helps bump the show up, especially in iTunes, so that there's a potential for it to be shown to more people. Thank you so much for being here, and I will see you next time.